energy boost. It's just caffeine and protein. I'm looking. I'll get strung out doing stuff, and sometimes I'll skip my breakfast and drink one of these and eat a banana, and then I won't go get anything to eat at lunch and end up drinking a second one, and it can be a problem when you start drinking more than one a day.
They clog you up. I don't know what.
Yeah, I'm broccoli reliant anyway.
So
I don't get my regular dose of broccoli. I'm totally.
All right, so I have no idea what's recording, what's not. Mike, I get this message here. It's saying mic on. I don't know what I did. I moved it up, I guess. Oh, turns it off. Turns it on. But can you hear me through that?
That's interesting. So the on-off switch is in the position of the speaker.
So that had something to do with it, I guess. But like I say, I still thought the audio was coming from here. Did it get louder just then?
No.
So it could be coming. It's coming from here then. The audio. What do you think?
Yeah, mine's strictly on the phone.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so a few things on this. So I think we should. So some of the stuff I saw, I was just kind of doing some research on what successful podcasts look like, and one of the things they said was you should probably have at least 4 before you even launch your first one. So we'll have to get together and what do you think for like a length? I would say half an hour minimum, hour max. I mean, if we're really having a good time when we're yakking is fine, but
so all of the stuff and trying to get confidence, getting our confidence up so that there's not any lag.
Yeah.
But I think that we should start with a half hour. If we get there, great. If we don't, then we'll have 2 or 3 times after that first one, building up to trying to be consistent and I've taken a puff, so I may skip that so that I don't lose my vocabulary, because it's really all I got, man. I fake everything else. I think that my algorithms is giving me a ton of Seinfeld commentary, sitting down with Jerry and saying, well, what do you think about this scene? And Kramer was talking about wrestling Mickey as his favorite part of the Seinfeld bit for him.
My thing is Married with Children. That pops into my head all the time.
But not in your Facebook viewing, or do you even have a regular Facebook?
I have a Facebook account. I just posted a photo. I came across a photo. I don't know if I told you this, from the 1981 Scroogies. Toby Fuller's in the picture. Mike Rogers, Pat Funk, me, we're all young bucks. And then some of the other guys, Sam Gunner and Rich Tapman, guys I played with for a lot of years, So came across softball, slow pitch, yeah.
Was that Folsom?
Folsom, and we got second in some tournament, and there's a picture of us there with a little thing sign in front that says the picture, or the year and everything. And I put it on Facebook. So that's what I use Facebook for, stuff like that. I'm not on there every day.
I look at the videos of the donkeys and the goats and
the reels.
And the dogs zooming.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was getting a lot of the auditors And Robin says that that's when I was my most anxious and aggressive in my sleep, was when I was watching a lot of the auditor videos. So she scrambled, because I have a Facebook account, but I don't go there because I don't have any friends there. So I'm not getting any feeds on it. I don't see, like, and I'm not completely in tune to how it all works, of course, but I've lived on her alternate Facebook account. So I answer a lot of stuff, like the people pose questions trying to get a response, so that's where they're clicking their viewership. And I had to be careful because I was at first concert or wildest concert, and Robin came out of school in 1960 out of Las Vegas, and I came out in 70s. Well, not 60. She was class of 78. Anyway, I'm kind of curious about your faith. I've got questions that based on your response to certain pros, I'm kind of curious if you've had a negative element to your faith or religious experience, or is it all just based on personal experiences and the negative aspects of the church that have been exposed?
A little bit of everything, I would say. So I would say the thing that sums me up best would be what Carl Sagan said. And they asked him about the Big Bang and what that meant as far as if somebody believed in God. And he said, "Who says the Big Bang isn't God?" So that's kind of where I come from. Like, you either believe in God or you don't. You have two choices, and one or the other. And if to not choose to say, no, I don't believe in God, then the question always comes up, well, then how did it start, or where did it start? And then the same thing happens if you believe in God. The question is, where did he start? How did he start? They both of them, because you can't answer that question. You answer it with faith, but you can't really answer that question because nobody can really know.
They've got the apologists that argue those issues. They're the ones that have done the deep research, and they'll get out not scripture but historical facts that they're presenting as truth. And I had a friend here that was he went to prison over cocaine after going to Grenada as a Marine. He got back from Grenada, which wasn't anything, but he got anyway, he was Old Testament. Everything about his Christian testimony was what Abraham and Moses and Isaac and all.
Isn't that Jewish too? Their Judaism is Old Testament.
Yeah, it's all. And certain books represent the various writings of Moses or David or Solomon. They all had. David wrote quite a bit of the Psalms, and then Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes and Song of Solomon, and quite a few Proverbs. But there was some gnarly crap that went down, and I wasn't into Old Testament. Jesus came on the scene and forgave us of the sins that we didn't have to hold or we should and really need to, but hold ourselves to the 10 Commandments rule of, if you break one of these, we're going to throw rocks at you till you die. type of thing.
Right.
So I was really just curious if there was just an absolute God is no more than the Wizard of Oz. If that's how far your position had moved, or if you still had a reverence for God, but just not the human expression forced on the masses.
Well, my thing would be organized religion. I am not a big fan of organized religion of any kind. I think it's kind of like
the experience you had in Rockland wasn't pleasant.
It was good. No, I mean, I like the church. I like the community. I like that part of the church more than I like the worship part. I love singing the songs and stuff too. But like I enjoyed going to the backpack giveaway or building the bikes for Christmas and reaching out to the community, doing community service, going places and weeding flower beds and giving back that way. I like that part of the church. By far my favorite part of the church is the community part. So where it kind of reminds me of baseball is ruined by adults. Baseball, if you give a bunch of 10-year-old boys a ball and a bat and a field, they'll have fun. They'll have a good time and they'll play baseball like it was designed to be played. You get a bunch of adults involved and then you get, like you have Major League Baseball and all the shenanigans and all the controversies and all that because the adults get involved and screw up something pure.
Is it the money? The church's handling of money and the collecting of?
No, not the tithes or anything, but yes, like in our society, our churches aren't taxed. But to me, when they start becoming political and they stop being a faith-based service, at some point, maybe they should be, it's and like the Joel Osteens and people who are making freaking ridiculously large amounts of money you got to weigh. You always have to weigh it, right? Pros and cons. What are they doing? What are they accomplishing? What's the good? What's the bad? What's the grift? What's the downside? What crap are they pulling that you don't know? But that's a whole nother thing.
So there's an underlying sense of suspect that Joel Osteen's church is doing misappropriating funds?
I don't think that I'm having 7 private airplanes and jets. That money could have been better spent serving people and not the individual. That's I think it's a hypocrisy, right? To say, I love the teachings of Jesus and, be welcoming and bring people in and all that. But a lot of times I don't really see that in people that are in the church.
Is it an accountability factor?
Maybe. That's a good question.
Because I don't hold any opinion of Joel Osteen.
And I'm not saying him specifically. That's the only name I know.
So, but anyway, he is the face of TV evangelism. It's not Billy whatever. But anyway, with him, I don't give him or even, and I think about it often. I had a word from God and I had asked, I said, give me something special. I want to open the Bible right now and know that you led me to this moment and this, and then you start going through your heart. Well, because I'm like my friend Tom, and I like community, and I like getting together and encouraging men on to this. We all should be acting this way. But the reality is that I like church. I like the whole activity. The tithing thing, God says, test me on this. Bring me. It's the only place in the Bible that God says, test me on this. Let me handle your finances. You just got to bring me 10%. And in my opinion, 10% on what you were making or are making would buy you a great community with that church. They were giving you what you wanted. I mean, just it's strictly a vintage or a view. I won't go to Disneyland. I won't go to the Thunder game because I'm going to fall asleep. I mean, it's past my bedtime. It's nothing special. And I've gotten to, so God has me open the Bible up to 2 Corinthians 8. And it deals with, now that you've done everything else, be generous. Turn it loose.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I made a commitment that I was going to turn it loose, and mine and Brad's relationship changed that night. I guarantee you that it started the movement that, of course, I'm giving Brad what he wanted was half of the trust money, but I turned it loose,
right?
And I've been way happier. You know, it's like I'm going to have to trust God now instead of having $1 million in a bank account that was. I need $50,000. I truly believe that I could rein everything in and live on $50,000. Well, my Social Security is 30, and you know, Robin's still drawing off of the business, but we're close to. I'm not smart enough to figure out the advantage of filing bankruptcy as opposed to just having a fire sale.
Right.
You know, I've got a mortgage on the building no matter what. I could probably really put some advanced payments to it because the first of the $15,000 payments that are going to be 60 of them over the next 60 months has been put in the bank. And so I could really just throw all of the money at paying off my debts and getting to the point where just shutting down. Our manufacturer has realized that we're no longer a behemoth in a healthy industry. We're just an old fish dying
in a shrinking pond.
There's a predator that they put in our pond, man.
Yeah.
But I digress. So the faith thing, it's nothing in particular other than societal views that you've allowed to be part of your own. How society reacts to religion. Those of us that are going to church and doing it have a completely different opinion of it than you do. I went to a Rotary function with Robin and her YMCA friends. And one of the husbands showed Greg, he's been to a couple of personal date night things, but I've never sat and talked with him. He made a comment that he was in church, going to our church, and during the pastor's sermon, 3 teenagers came into the sanctuary. And the pastor says, you 3 just turn around and go right back out of here. Get on out of here. Well, it offended this Greg guy, and he won't go back. That one moment.
Yeah, that would have offended me too. I would have been like, you're supposed to be welcoming to people, bring them in. That was Jesus taught, right? Not make a decision and send them away. Now, I don't know any of the details. I don't know. Maybe they had already robbed the place, you know. So, but I would have taken it badly too.
His position didn't represent a big enough moment. I don't want to say challenge, but to then go to the pastor and say, is it possible that you, because my immediate thought was it was one of his sons that had come in late or whatever, or he was doing a sermon and I didn't get from Greg what the sermon was about because his memory is of the encounter with him and the 3 kids that he sent out. It was a Wednesday night service, and so anyway.
Yeah, we don't know any of the details, and it just shows how your perception.
So I went past that moment and said to him, "Who do you think's happier with you not being in church, Satan or Jesus?" And I said, "I don't mean to offend you with that. I just want you to pose the question in your mind, who won?" Because it was either good or evil was going to triumph in that moment. In that particular moment, a situation was presented that more than you, if you had been in the service, you would have gotten the same gut punch as Greg did. So who's it?
Okay, but let me ask you this then. So if that moment chased Greg out of the church, in that moment, was the pastor being used by Satan to do that?
There's really absolutely no absolute confirmation as to the righteousness of the human soul. It has to all be Jesus. And detaching from our own personal experiences or ambitions or applications, detaching from that and determining, and again, that's the first time I've talked to the guy, and we really didn't chat about anything other than that.
But to me, that brings up the hypocrisy of the church. That I don't believe that. What the hell? The church, the meeting. We're ending in 10 minutes. Just so you know, I just got to know.
Okay.
So the hypocrisy.
Are there any qualifications? Are there any qualifying standards that can be achieved that would raise a human representative to the point of your trust and faith?
I don't understand the question.
What does a person, what would a religious or any person, what would they have to do to get above that level of scrutiny?
I'm not sure what you mean by level of scrutiny.
Greg scrutinized his actions. For whatever reason, he applied his personal filter to that equation.
Yeah.
As have you. Could Satan have caused that pastor to say that would turn those 3?
That's my question, right?
That's your question.
Yeah. Could he? Was that Satan at that moment? Because you said it was Satan. You had to choose Jesus or Satan, right?
So that's my point then. Who did Satan win, or did Jesus win?
Right. And if Satan won because he turned the people away, then was Satan actually working his way through the pastor in that sanctuary at that time?
So again, my question is: Does a representative reach a point where that no longer becomes a question you ask?
Well, had he welcomed them in, said, I'm in the middle of something right now. Could you please, we could talk in a minute or something. If he actually wanted to talk to them, he wasn't happy with their behavior or whatever it was. He could have handled it in a little different way other than I banished thee from my church. You know what I mean? Because that's not welcoming. I mean, I understand you don't welcome people if there's a reason. I mean, within levels, you would welcome them in, but if they did some heinous act. But anyway, so that's my thing. I would say my thing with the church, my biggest problem with the church is the hypocrisy.
And who do you know personally that suffered as a result of the hypocrisy in the church?
Doesn't matter.
So it's a generic trouble that you're representing as the biggest issue you have with the church.
I never said it was the biggest issue I have with the church.
Oh.
Right? It's an issue I have with the church. Okay. But hypocrisy, when you have churches that aren't teaching Jesus, then I think they're getting off track.
I agree. Yeah,
I mean, that's how I always see it is it's Jesus first. The rest is kind of, I don't know, it's not as important as the teachings of Jesus personally, you know. But like we were talking the other day, and you were saying about Jonah, that you truly believe he was in the fish, right? And I don't. I think those are parables. The Old Testament was written by dudes that said they heard the word of God, and then that what they wrote was then edited 150 or 300 years later by more scribes, and got edited by the church and the leaders and all that. So I don't think you can take any of that as absolute factual, historical. It's a parable. It's a story. There's a moral. There's
a prelude.
It's just, you know, it's so that you understand.
Because most of them are satisfied or made relevant in the New Testament. So most of what you get,
they clarify it.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, we're going to run out of time here in just a minute. So right. I did want to record though some of our high level, like what would your goal be from this podcast? Not this, you know, from us doing this endeavor. What in a year? What would be how would you feel accomplished? What would you want to see us achieve over the course of the next year?
And this is going to sound self-absorbed, but you making a stronger testimony of your faith would be the one major goal. I thought to myself, I can engage Tom or be engaged by Tom in a variety of topics with the purpose of constantly shifting it back to your expression of faith.
Why is my faith so important to you?
Because the relationship with God is the single greatest thing that we get in life. It's the only thing we leave here with. We leave all of our worldly possessions, but we leave this planet with our witness to what God did in our lives and in our testimony. That they'll tell stories about our relationship with God. I'm an evangelizing Christian. I prefer to hang out with Christians. I am prone to want to socialize, and I'm probably more social with cannabis than I really should be. I stopped and had a beer last night, which, you know, by the time I got home, and in fact, I didn't go home. I went to a taco. It's called Taco Casa. It's better than Taco Bell. I don't eat Taco Bell. But when I went in and stood at the urinal and I'm peeing, that one beer had foamed up or something so bad, and my prostate's enlarged anyway, that I couldn't get relief urinating. I stood there. I think they sent somebody in to find out if the stumbling biker was tearing the paper towel dispensers off the wall. And I had to, after I got rid of as much as I possibly could, standing there 2 or 3 times as long as I should have been there, I went out and ate my food, and I had to go back in and pee before I got on my motorcycle and went on home. I am, more than anything, making a statement about who I am, not who you are. You've probably never. You just don't have another friend that's as passionate about the Jesus relationship. You've testified that that's happening for you, and I almost feel satisfied that I've got to where I wanted to go. I don't ask that question very good with people. I say, do you believe in God? And they say, yeah. Then I engage them with what's going on in my spiritual life. If they say no, I don't talk to them. And that's where I need to get better at, is talking to them that why aren't you as interested in expressing, and this is hypothetical, but why aren't you interested in expressing your relationship with God? Don't you know that if you don't tell them, nobody knows? And that's the really strange thing about God, that the only way you can get it is if somebody points you in the right direction. If you get a Bible out and read it, you read the Old Testament before you read the New Testament, you'll scare the bejesus out of you. You know, hands being chopped off. And
eye for an eye and all that stuff, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, this one dude was afraid of what his daughter was going to do, so he chopped her hands off. And I think that's in Kings, which I don't recommend that reading to anybody. And I was making a point earlier. My friend Tom is this Old Testament, and I couldn't get him to buy Jesus Love. It's all about love, Tom. It's all, and his name was Tom too, by the way. But I know we're going to cut short, so I want to get money too. I would like to. I've always wanted to be a broadcaster. I want to sell playlists. I want to post the songs of the week. Oh, I'll go back to you. You know, I've been sitting around thinking, what kind of content am I going to sell? The soundtrack to your life is what I want to sell, and offer up a 9 or